Hi there, welcome to some of the latest news within the Noah Presgrove case. I'm doing a handful of videos today, concentrated ones, so it's easier to focus in, and I'll have one main video later tonight, live premiere. Be on the lookout for it. But right now, let's just focus on some official news. When it comes to media groups and articles out there, it's not been as active within the Noah Presgrove case. Quite a lot of the news and discussions have been more informal and through either the Justice page or more so the Army or discussion page on Facebook. But it looks like they've finally catched up the official news groups. Besides a high-profile individual with separate charges, more about that later, I believe the same group have done some coverage on Noah Presgrove, and I just want to present it to you today. Technically, we have seen it before because it was mentioned by Deborah Smith, the grandmother, on the Justice page, but there's no harm in looking at it officially to see if there's any additional details. And furthermore, there was an interesting Facebook post, might have been on the Justice page, where people were asking for updates, and a family member, I believe Robin Smith, responded. So let's look at all that today. And we'll start off with the official news page. This is by KSWO, Comanche, Oklahoma. The title reads, Noah Presgrove family offers $16,000 reward for information leading to arrest and conviction. So some of you will be familiar with already. We also looked at the GoFundMe and money at some point raised put towards this reward to try and get people to speak, because money can talk, though as we've seen with certain family members within the case and connected to party goers who have deep pockets, is it more of a bidding war? Well, it reads here, the family are in cooperation with local law enforcement to offer reward money. So, if that 16,000 was partially from what the family have themselves and others raised through GoFundMes, in what way are they in cooperation with law enforcement? Just as a question, because I've never asked it before, can law enforcement offer money, add money into the pool? I'm just thinking, a bit off subject, but when you get the most wanted list, FBI, things like that, they've got reward money. When you had Ayman al-Zawahiri, when you had Osama bin Laden, it was $25 million reward money. On a smaller scale, with a case like this, Noah Presgrove, could police, law enforcement put money towards it? Or is that just not possible? Or is it, in this case specifically, because of who they are and locals, they're probably less likely to put money in that direction at least? Let me know down below if you do have an answer. You can always leave comments under this video. But obviously, 16,000 for valuable information which does lead to an arrest and conviction of a individual or multiple involved. So if anyone out there does have information but they feel it could be a bit risky, is $16,000 worth the risk? If you take it into mind, when Jan Friarillo had her offer previously, deadline August 15th, 2024, supposedly that didn't get taken up on, but she was providing like legal services and fees there, so if anyone was to reach out, to be able to defend themselves, protect themselves, and that's probably just as valuable, if not more, than $16,000 here when it comes to your own life. Do you want to gamble with it, or do you want some safety and security? I don't know if you was to pair this $16,000 reward money with those legal things in the past by Jan Friarillo's offer, would someone be more willing to talk? But nevertheless, not much has happened yet from what we know of publicly. It says a flyer from the family says those who have information regarding the case can contact Oklahoma Highway Patrol. And we have seen that flyer. I've covered it in a previous video. You'll also see it on the Justice page. They may also leave an anonymous tip. So there's options. Presgrove's body was found off of Highway 81 between Terrell and Ryan in September of last year. Since his death, thousands of people worldwide have taken interest in the case. Worldwide? I guess, maybe. Granted, that was quite short, but the main importance why I wanted to share it with you is the pace is very slow. Considering that there's not been any proper press conferences, press releases, maybe the odd little interview here or there, but not to a great extent. That's been disappointing. But to now hear about this news or being reported on officially by higher ups, if you want to call it that, when it comes to media, they're a bit behind, because general public on a very basic level, public scale. It was already made very clear on different pages. The Justice one, which is publicly available and viewable and accessible on Facebook, 62,000 members and counting. It was advertised there, the flyer, the reward money. I think it might have been reposted on Reddit too. So people could have found out much earlier on. And now this official news group is covering it now. Why no? Why the lack of urgency? Is there a reason for it? I don't know. Maybe with other higher profile cases, popular ones, hot, active cases and stuff, maybe news groups are more willing to jump on that rather than something like Noah Presgrove, because being realistic, it is dwindling a bit, and you can't blame people for it, but that's what's happening at the moment. It's like with the Alex Easterling case, that's gone very, very, very quiet, which is unfortunate, but there's only so much you can do in a case, right? But this is the thing, you always take in mind, a case can go cold. Maybe more so with mystery and missing person cases where there's more opportunity for being able to go beyond and keep it alive and cover it in more ways. When it might be a bit more linear and there's only so much you can work with and you can't go outside of the box because you'd be drifting away from the actual truth or main story. Whilst limited, with less to work with, less coverage over time, and you see how it happens. But who knows what will happen next. Just wanted to show you this little update in case you weren't familiar with it before. But don't worry, there is another concentrated video coming shortly. But with that being in mind, to set the tone, despite it feeling kind of bleak at the moment, let's look at one valuable discussion on the Facebook page, the Justice one, in which Robin Smith, I believe, the aunt, had to say about updates in the case. Here we are, this is by Jacqueline. 4 days ago, Justice page reads as a question, has there been any progress in this case? Because, people watching right now, let me know your thoughts down below. When's the last time you heard news about progress being made? And I'm talking specifically, not just, progress has been made, but what exact progress has been made within this case? When is the last time you heard details about something like that? Drop a comment down below. But these are the responses. I've got it adjusted to all and we'll see what we read. Be nice to be thrown at least a few breadcrumbs. Yeah, good question. I wish we could get the updates we used to get. Last I heard was the FBI was taking over. Well, no, they've never taken over. That was fake news in the past. They can step in and assist, but there's no thumbs up to do so just yet. So Tim is a bit behind there. Patricia, seeing that Ellie can't move forward with this case, family needs to step up and demand FBI to take over. Only family can do that, not the world. I sure wish we could. The FBI should get involved. There needs to be a thumbs up by the police, I believe. Passed on. Here we go. Robin Smith. The investigation is slowly moving along. As long as there's always movement, there is hope. It's when you get stuck in the mud and it's not going anywhere. But because no details were exactly mentioned, it might be hard for people to see. Jacqueline says, well, I can't tell that there's been progression or that things are moving. See, you can say that an investigation is slowly moving along, but what? Moving along in the right direction? An upwards trajectory, a forwards momentum? Or is it going backwards? Because when you look at that reward money, you could say that is movement, but going backwards. Movement towards hope. But in terms of getting answers, tips, and things like that, has anything come out of it? Is the reward money, that flyer, a last-ditch desperate attempt to try and get some movement in the right direction and momentum? Depends how you look at it, right? Marcy, can you say if the FBI has gotten involved yet? No response. So it's interesting how Robin Smith has been very vague just by saying that movement is happening. By being vague, could you interpret that as a hint that things are going in the right direction and it must be important because it can't be talked about publicly here? You could say that. Or Robin Smith can only say so much because she only knows so much, just like us. Let me know how you interpret Robin's comment here. Because there have been some people within the community, general public, that have said the same line, almost like the same script. And that's not to be negative, it's just as an observation. When I think of it more now, I've come across a handful of people who have said, yep, it's moving, or things are going on. Very vague. So unless there's like interconnections and a hierarchical structure where they all say the same script, they're all on the same page, but they do know what's happening in the background. That's another way of looking at it. I'm just thinking back to the schematics of the Dylan Rounds case, how people acted there and what they had to say. The general public that acted in a certain way were a bit problematic because it was a lot of hot air. From the mother's perspective, Candice Cooley, when she said things are happening or moving forwards, but we can't discuss it at this moment in time, it was quite clear and understandable. Fast forward a few months later, it was brought back up again and elaborated on when they were able to explain more. So there is that. Maybe it will happen here, but then again, what interviews would take place in the future? Jacqueline, in my opinion, is unacceptable. Why? So we give timelines and rights to defence but not victims. Noah Presgrove has the right to justice and his life either was or wasn't intentionally taken, but it certainly has been covered up in some part. Noah Presgrove's family and friends deserve answers. Response-wise, anyone? Unfortunately, Noah's life was taken on purpose by a few individuals who ended up being jealous of Noah with rage. See, how it's worded here, almost like worded as an actual fact with absolute confidence and certainty. Now, you won't find me ever wording it like that up until there is hard, solid evidence, or at least I've seen it myself personally. Maybe Lisa has seen supposed murder footage, but if it's people online stating to it as a fact just based off what they've been told or what's been passed on, but they've not seen it firsthand, someone like me, I just couldn't do that personally, because when you do make certain claims and bold points, it could well be the truth, but you got to make sure you got something behind it to back it up, just in case things backfire. But it all depends what situation you're really in. Lisa says, Noah was my friend and buddy, and we miss him so much. So if Lisa was friends with Noah, did this person attend the party? Yes, no, probably not. But how do they know that it was by the hands of individuals? I know others can say, yeah, well, we've been told with the murder footage and there's murder footage out there. No, but how many people have actually seen the footage? The actual proof to know that, yes, multiple people involved and yes, foul play. Because there might be a handful of individuals out there that will state it as a fact, but they know, but they've never seen the actual footage. That's a little bit problematic. Unless there's an exception where it's been mentioned by police officially that there is such and such a footage out there and you just have to believe in it and trust it, then maybe you can state things more as a fact. And then fast forward onwards through court and after the case, certain documents might be released. Just like the Dylan Rounds case, but that's in time. Don't let the work to their advantage. Okay, I'm not letting up. Especially with the size amount of reward. Get off. Reward. I'm just praying that people start coming forwards. But will they? I don't know why it keeps doing that. If there has, they're keeping it quiet. Who? The family? No reason for these people to keep secrets at this point. Contamination or obstruction has already happened. Put the info out. That's the kind of crap that made Joe kind of refuse to touch, whatever that case. So that's pretty much it for that. So are you pleased, satisfied with what Robin Smith had to say as for an update, that there is movement? Or does it seem rather underwhelming? You think there's a breakdown in communication, or maybe things are just quietened down ever since? Could it be any reasons along the way which has caused a bit more of a silence, less communication online? Would that be through any drama or conflict? Because if so, it just goes to show how a minority can impact it for everyone else and it has a knock-on effect. Nevertheless, these are still some videos I just wanted to put out there. Hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. If you want, feel free to like and share this video and be on the lookout for more videos later today. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.